First, the foundation of the church is Christ. And what this Christ means calls us into what he calls ecclesia. So we have Christ, and then Jesus says he's going to build his ecclesia, his church. This word we hear, we think church of this building, maybe some of these people. Well, ecclesia had a different meaning then. In fact, a variety of meanings. And this is one of the things that we get when we deal with translation. That words often don't translate one to one. There's a multiplicity of different ways because they're bringing out meaning. The meaning is that a ecclesia in Jesus' day was also like a legislative body. It had a political leaning to it. It was the group of folks that would adjudicate and go through a matter. This is what you would go to. Jesus says, I'm getting ready to build that. But not only that, this is also a group that gathers together. A group that is called out. A group that lives and works and functions in community. That the church is meant to be community. Early, even in American Christianity, churches were community churches. Things have changed quite a bit. What would happen is the church would be in a neighborhood, and most of the neighborhood would go to the church. That was intentional, was functional. It allowed the people not just to come to church on a Sunday, but to be able to live life out with each other. They would see each other all throughout the week. So when they got to church, there was already deeper connection because the only time they saw each other wasn't just on that Sunday. Now, of course, that also creates issues and challenges because the same way that people bump into each other and live in community isn't always clean. Therefore, if you had a great experience with people in your community, you come to church and church is probably amazing. And then you have bad experiences, folks, in your community. You come to church and church don't feel so good. And in fact, what they would use is then the legislative body. They would bring issues and matters to the church so that the church would help them before they went to legal matters. Hey, we're not getting along. Can you sit down and mediate between us? Because we believe that the Spirit of God in you will work with the Spirit of God in me, and we can do this thing in a way that is different than if we treated everybody as if we didn't know them. So now we are living in community, but we don't have that now. We drive in. Some of us from far distances. Sometimes the only time we see each other is here. So then when we say stuff like community, what does that really look like? I don't really know you. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you stand for. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if you care about me. And then to make it easier, we've stopped caring for people. And I'm speaking generally. I know that there are some of you that might raise your hand and say, "No, Pastor, I care about folk. That is not me. I care." Yes. But by and large, it's hard to care for large groups of people because there are so many. And so what we do is we care for a couple of individuals that connect to us, but it's hard to care for all. It's easy to lop some off as crazy or these just ain't for me, and so we stop caring. And what I mean by care is not that we are best friends, but that that your well-being matters to me. That I care enough about your well-being to do something. And the reason why this is important, because in times of challenge and struggle, community is the thing that comes together that allows you to get through. However, if we've hollowed out community, when the trouble comes, where do we go? Who shows up for us? Who stands when we need more people to stand? Who speaks out? Who's going to knock at the door of the mayor or the governor when I call and say, "Hey, church, I need us to rally together because one of our folks, things ain't going," and you're like, "Oh, I don't know them." If that means that you don't show up, then we start losing folks in the community, and we don't even know that we should be the ones that can stand there. He says, this is what I'm talking about. The church that Jesus was building Made sure they had those levels of connection so that we can show up when it was necessary.